Welcome today to the Art of Preaching. Brother Osborne, thanks for taking time out again. You are a continual favorite. I get requests continuously. When are you going to have Brother Osborne on the Art of Preaching again?
I was thinking about the prodigal son, and the Bible said he came to himself. I wonder what self he came to. Did he come to the selfish self that he had when he left home? He's very selfish when he left home. Selfish. He's very self-conscious, very selfish. I don't care about dad. I don't care about my brothers. I don't care about the farm. I don't care about the cattle, the flocks, the herds. All I want is what's good for me. Did he come to his selfish self on the back of a hog pen? Did he come to his carefree self? I just want to go to a far country and have a great time and fellowship and commune and see the sights in the world. Was that the sight? Was that the self he came to? What about the wasting self? What about wasting his substance and throwing everything away and losing everything that he has? That's the self he came to. What about the desperate self when he went out and got a job watching hogs when he knew they were unclean animals? He had no business being there. What about the lonely self? Did he come to that lonely self? Or did he come to the hungry for home self? The Bible said he came to himself. I just got to figure out which self did he come to? Because in this story, there are a lot of selves here.
Hmm.
And most people have a lot of selves. But somewhere in the carefree self, the selfish self, the wasting self, the desperate self, the lonely self, you got to bring the message back to the hungry for home self. Somehow people are hungry in their heart for home. When you can preach this message, it's probably one of the most amazing messages in the Bible. It's probably the pages are worn out. People, their Bible, if you just drop it open, it'll fall to that or the issue of blood, one or the other. They're probably the most two well-worked messages. But this whole self thing, because you got people out in the congregation, there are a lot of selves out there, a lot of selves out there, a lot of selfish selves, carefree selves,
Yeah.
wasted selves, lonely selves. You're trying to get to a hungry self, hungry for home, hungry to get back to the Father. Because every man's a strange lover from God. Every one of them. I don't care if they're pierced and ragged looking. They're still estranged from God. They're away from God. So it doesn't matter what self these people are in. You got to get to this hungry for home self. I know I need to get back where I belong. Backslidden self, whatever self it is, you've got to cause them to come to themselves.
Wow.
And that is the self that needs to get back home to the Father. And so if you can't bring them to that self, if you're just going to tell this story, what does it mean to me? It just means to me, whichever self you are right now, this is maybe just a light example, whatever self you find these people in, then you've got to bring them to this self. You need to get back to God. You're a strange lover from God, and God loves you, cares about you. He's waiting for you. There's a fatted calf waiting for you. He doesn't care which self you are right now, as long as you're hungry to come home. He has a fatted calf. He has a ring for you. That's how you get it home, get it back. This is application. I'm going to make this application to you because I don't care what self you are right now. You're going to get to that lonely self one day. You're going to get to the hog pen self one day. And I'm trying to get you to the place that you're hungry for the Father. And if I can get you to that self, then I'm going to invite you to come to the altar. And there's a fatted calf, there's a ring, there's a coat. It's all waiting for you because he's been waiting for you to come home and he sees you from far up. So if you can't get that job done and you close the service with a bunch of selfish selves out here, you can't get it back to the hungry for home self. You've got to take every man and bring him to himself.
That's
And
all.
that is the true self, that inner heart self that's away from God. So that's my position, getting
Yeah.
somebody back to the correct self, that self that comes to himself. He didn't come to
Good.
himself. I'm the most selfish person on the planet. That's not the self he came to, or the carefree self, or the
Yeah.
wasting self. He came to that self
All rise
that
and
he
go
should have
home.
been a long time ago. You know, and preaching is to bring a person back to that self right
That's all.
there. I don't care if you're an alcoholic, drug addict, whatever you are. I'm trying to get you back to that self that needs God and is hungry for God. I'm trying to whet your appetite for God. I'm trying to let you know you can go home. And that's coming down. You can't just go back to the River Jordan. You can't just go back to wandering in the wilderness. Somewhere along the line, people have to come to themselves. And it's your job to bring them to that, whichever self they are.